Welcome back to Bookverse. Today we are going to go over issues 2 through 6 on Crisis on Infinite Earths. So let's go. Alright, on my first video I reviewed Crisis on Infinite Earths, plus I talked about the DC Infinite app. I talked about where I've been these past few years. I've talked about what this channel is going to be about and all of that. So it was a pretty long video. Let's see if we can make this one shorter. So today we are going to do 2 through 6. And this is a big chunk of the event. This is like the first act, part of the second act. And so a lot happens. So let's dive into issue 2. Alright, so issue 2 continues the mystery of what is happening to all the Earths. We saw in issue 1 that a few of them are already getting destroyed, but how are they going to save the rest of these remaining Earths? So issue 2 was pretty good. It didn't really move the story far forward. It was still kind of introducing characters and setting up the first act of the series, but it was still good. It had some good hints at later stuff to, the Flash popping up and disappearing, and Lila getting attacked by one of the shadow monsters. So they're setting things up. So even though it didn't move the plot too forward, it definitely helps set things up. The chess game between Monitor and the bad guy is also really good. They're both trying to one up each other. He's trying to save the universe and the other one is trying to destroy it. So you got the light and the dark. So the pros of this issue were, I really liked how kind of innocent Joker was back then. He was kind of just doing gags instead of, destroying the entire world or universe or whatever. So that was kind of refreshing, especially, in the modern days. Joker's such a anarchist that, trying to steal the movie rights to something. It was kind of funny. It was cool. I also really enjoyed the villains and the heroes working together. It's such a worldwide event that you have to bring villains and heroes to work together to save the universe. So that's really cool. And as for the cons, again, kind of like I talked about in issue 1, where there's so many characters that sometimes you don't know who is who. Again, it's nice to come back to it later and remember, oh, this character was here, that's who that character was. But when you're reading it, you're kind of like, who is this character? Or even if you know the character, some of these characters have 80 plus years of character development. And in 1985, I have no idea where the Flash was, and I guess he was in the future. And I don't know kind of like where Batman was or Superman was. So you kind of feel a little disoriented when you meet the characters. But it's still really entertaining. My overall rating, I think, for this one would be a 3. Just because, again, it didn't move the story too far forward, but it was still a good issue. And again, for the art, the interior art, it's still great. It's going to be great the entire series because it's the same artist. They didn't, back then they met the deadlines, unlike today where you get different artists because they just can't keep up with the monthly release dates. And then you have special artists, special guest artists come in and help with issues and stuff, which is sometimes cool because, sometimes you get a really good issue, but other times it's just like, you want the consistent art throughout the whole issue. All right, so on to issue 3. Let's keep it rolling. It's really cool that the evil guy is making progress again. It's really elevating the intensity of the event because the heroes are losing. The evil guy just keeps gaining ground. So that's really cool to see. Also, the cliffhanger at the end with the Lila betrayal, that's like, whoa, okay, we're barely in issue 3. And it's also really cool just to see so many different characters and their interactions. As for the pros, I think having the Titans being kick-ass in this, and then a team that you don't really hear about these days, but the Losers, they were really cool in this. I would want to read a story about the army, with these characters, Captain Rock. The only con with issue 3, I think, is that it's repetitive kind of to issue 2. So you kind of have them get to the machine, meet up, and try to figure out what's happening, and then get to the machine, meet up, kind of figure out what's happening. And it's a little repetitive. So for this one, I'd probably give it 4. That cliffhanger really boom, bumped it up. And again, with the art, nothing new to say there. It's very consistent. It's really good. All right, so issue 4 now. This is the final line for the hero to make a stand against the enemy. They have to stop now, or all this worlds are going to cease to exist. So it's really cool. And Lila's betrayal is finally coming to fruition. So it's like, what's going to happen? Are Earth 1 and Earth 2 going to get demolished? So what comes next? Does evil win? Pros of this one: the amazing cliffhanger. The worlds get swallowed up. The cons of this issue, again, were kind of similar to 2 and 3, where it kind of felt like it dragged on a little bit at the beginning. It definitely picked up towards the end of the issue, but it's just kind of 2, 3, 4 kind of were, they could have been spaced down to maybe an issue or 2. And with the art, again, it's still amazing. We're still seeing consistent art, so it's still coming out good. The cover of this issue, though, is a little spoilerish, I would say. It really reminds me of Star Wars, just kind of the aesthetics, maybe inside of the Death Star, where, Luke gets his hand chopped off, and, you got this big, huge, drop. And so it's really cool. I like the aesthetic of the cover. All right, issue 5. So here we go. The world seemed to have gotten destroyed on the last issue. So it's, now we know that they merged into kind of a purgatory, different Nexus kind of universe. That was the Monitor's saving plan for the worlds, and so now it's cool because it's setting up the second stage of the event, and you have Earth 1 and Earth 2 actually mixing together, and it's really cool to see some interactions between some of the Earth 1s and Earth 2 heroes and all the confusion, because on top of just mixing the worlds here, they're actually mixing the entire timeline going. So cavemen are meeting modern people, 31st century heroes are meeting prehistoric dinosaurs, and all this craziness. So it's really cool to see that. It does feel like it dragged on just a tiny little bit, but it's kind of let the storm settle down a bit. So I'm sure issue 6 gonna rise it back up. The Red Tornado, he gets taken by Psycho Pirate in one of the issues, and now the evil one is gonna use him, and it kind of falls flat. They kind of stop him pretty easily, so that kind of felt, just a little underwhelming. But the reveal finally of this enemy ends up being basically the Anti-Monitor. I can't remember if they named him by name on this one, but you kind of see his robot face, and he's got the same style that the Monitor had, just in a robot head. So that's, finally we're getting to see this evil dude and who he is, and maybe we'll get more backstory on what he wants and why he's destroying all the universes. So the pros on this was kind of seeing all the heroes interact finally. We saw some heroes interacting before, but now we get the 2 worlds, we get all the timelines mixing in, so that's cool. Also, I like that the Freedom Fighters, go out fighting. You got Uncle Sam and his band of heroes from Earth 10, and they're not giving up, and even though their world is coming down to an end. So I thought that was pretty cool. And the good twist to, how the Monitor saved the universes, that was cool. I was wondering what's going to happen next after it looks like they get destroyed. So having him, use his life force, knowing that he was going to die to save the universes, was cool. The rating for this one, again, is a 4. I think it did a really good job. It did feel somewhat like a filler, but I thought it did good to continue the story, get us to the next stage of what the story is going to be. Now we have the 2 Earths that are mixing, so they need to save the universe before they fully combine and destroy each other. On top of that, they gotta save the other 3 worlds still. So there's still a huge hurdle that the heroes have to overcome. So again, it was just kind of like the calm before the storm, and now we got the heroes who are gonna have to find a way to save the universe. The art, again, is pretty consistent. The cover, I feel, lacked a little color, but it was still overall pretty cool. You have a bunch of heroes on the cover, and you know, it's kind of like a Where's Waldo. All right, here we go. Issue 6. So this is halfway through the event now. So issue 6, you know, starts off with a little backstory to this Monitor, later to be known as Anti-Monitor. And so it's nice to see a little bit of his motivations and stuff. So that's cool. We also get the Earth's ship destroyed. And man, they just can't catch a break. You know, like, it's really putting them up against the wall, and it's I love it. It's raising the tension up and the suspense of how are they gonna win in the end. You also get a mix with the other 3 worlds that are left. So you got Earth X, which I believe is Uncle Sam's. You get the Shazam, which I think Earth 5. I can't remember exactly what these Earths are, but so seeing all these worlds finally mix in and they're trying to save these final 3 ones, it's pretty cool. And something I noticed as I was reading it, and super relevant to right now, is Peacemaker's in there. He was in the new Suicide Squad movie, played by John Cena. He actually just got a show on HBO Max. They have this super funny intro where, like, they're all dancing. It's kind of ridiculous, but I saw him in the comic, and so again, it's just one of those comics where you go back and when you reread it again and you know more characters, it's just like, hey, I know who that is, and it's really cool. The pros of this one are just basically like they're up against the wall, so it's really good tension. We have no idea how they're gonna be able to save the universe. So halfway through the series, to have, you know, wanting to read more because of it, I think it's really nice. The only con of this issue is kind of just the hero versus hero aspect of it. Again, like, yeah, it makes sense that these the world is like dying, so, and then they see these strangers, and of course they want to like figure out who they are or why they want to fight them, but I just kind of like wish it would have gone a little faster. The cover is cool. It's got the evil guy's face, the Monitor helmet, the Anti-Monitor. I think this one would look really cool in a modern like look. I think it would look epic. Overall, I give it probably a 3.5 to 4. Again, it's kind of just like getting the other 3 worlds together with the Earth 1 and Earth 2. So, all right, so there we go. That's issue 2 through 6. Episode 1 was issue 1, and now we're up to halfway through the event. It's been really good so far. It's making me want to come back and read the next issues. Seeing all the different characters is really cool, and you know, I can't wait to see what happens next. Follow me and subscribe, and catch the next one on issue 7 through 12.